praises to the Most High for all that He has done, for who He is, and for who He will continue to be. What a privilege and honor it is to be alive and well this day, to be able to share all it is that Abba Yah has given to us to share. And it's an even greater privilege to be able to know the entire Torah, to know that it doesn't begin midway, but that the Most High had a plan for us from the very beginning, that He knew the end from the beginning. And so from the beginning, He shared the end with us. All praises to Abba. Today we're looking at the full gospel part 7. I pray that you all did take some time to read through the scriptures that were provided and study the barakahs of each of Jacob's children. Because as I said before, it is very important. It's necessary for us to know because it will help us understand how everything is going to play out. It's not just barakahs, but they're prophecies. And they are indicators and markers for us to be able to identify what is taking place and how it's going to go down. None of this information is for no reason. It's with purposeful intent that Abba Yah provides this information. So let us go before Abba Yah and Paul and just invite him to be in our midst and to prepare our hearts to receive every word that he has in store for us today. Let's lift up clean hands. Abba Yah, who reigns in the Shamayam and the Eretz, we come before you and we give you thanks for everything that you have done. May your name be greatly esteemed. May your name be greatly magnified. There is none like you. There is none who can do the great and mighty things that you have done. You are deserving of all the praise and all the honor that is due your name. We thank you for the kindness that you've shown towards us. Do with us according to your desire, Abba Yah. I ask that you will give me clear words, that I do not speak my own words in any way, shape, or form, that I do not try to entertain outside of your ruach, outside of your leading, but it be all it is that you say. I thank you, Abba Yah, for this privilege. May your name be greatly esteemed. May your name be greatly magnified. We give you thanks for all that you've done and all that you'll continue to do. May your goodness and mercy follow us all the days of our life, as we dwell in the house of the Most High Yah, for always and forevermore. In the name and the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it, and be it so. So we left off at the part of Jacob dying and the 12 patriarchs dying and passing away, and a new Pharaoh rising up, not remembering Joseph or Yosef, and making the lives of the Israelites nearly impossible to live. We spoke about how this is not the prophecy that Abba Yah gave to Abraham when he said that his descendants would be in a land for 400 years as slaves. We know at this point in time the Israelites were in Egypt for about 430 years, 215 years living freely, not in bondage, no oppression, thriving, prospering, multiplying, increasing. But after the death of Joseph and the son of Pharaoh, so Pharaoh died, the Pharaoh that gave Joseph his position. And then the son of Pharaoh died, who also heeded the instructions and the guidance of Joseph. And then his son arose, and that's when they had forgotten Joseph, after all the patriarchs had died. 3 generations had passed, and it was time for Yasharal to be afflicted. So we have a bit of a backstory in, well, we're told what happens in the book of Genesis. Um, sorry, not Genesis. Um, about what it was that was taking place with the Israelites in that land, how they had increased in number and the Egyptians had become fearful of them. But that's not the entire story. It's necessary for us to be able to have the entire background information so that everything can make sense to us. And we can find in Jasher chapter 67 what it is that took place. And again, I will emphasize and reiterate that I do read from the book of Jasher. You see, it is mentioned in the book of Joshua. It is repeated in the book of Judges. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? Of course, the churches, they did let us know that these books were forbidden. But it gives us a fuller understanding, a deeper context of everything that had been taking place. So at this point in time, I will read for us Jasher chapter 67. It is kind of long, so I will read it for us. Please pay very close attention so that you do not miss anything and you can fully understand what is being said. And it reads, there was a man in the land of Mizraim, of the seed of Levi, whose name was Amram, son of Kehath, son of Levi, son of Yasharal. And this man went and took a wife, namely Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, his father's sister. And she was 126 years old, and he came to her. And the woman conceived and bore a daughter, and she called her name Miriam, because in those days the Mizrahites had embittered the lives of the children of Yasharal. And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Aaron, for in the days of her conception Pharaoh began to spill the blood of the male children in Yasharal. In those days Shepho, son of Eliphaz, son of Esau, sovereign of the Hittites, died. Phinehas reigned in his place. And the time that Shepho reigned over the children of the Hittites was 50 years. And he died and was buried in the city of Nabna, in the land of the Hittites. And Phinehas, one of the mighty men of the children of the Hittites, reigned after him, and he reigned 50 years. And it came to be after the death of the sovereign of the Hittites that Balaam, son of Beor, fled from the land of the Hittites. And he went and came to Mizraim, to Pharaoh, sovereign of Mizraim. And Pharaoh received him with great honor, for he had heard of his wisdom, and he gave him presents, and made him for a counselor, and made him great. And Balaam went to Mizraim in honor with all the nobles of the sovereign, and the nobles exalted him, because they all coveted to learn his wisdom. And in the 130th year of Yasharal's going down to Mizraim, Pharaoh dreamed that he was sitting on his royal throne, and lifted up his eyes and saw an old man standing before him. And there were scales in the hands of the old man, such scales as are used by merchants. And the old man took the scales and hung them before Pharaoh. And the old man took all the elders of Mizraim, and all its nobles and great men, and he tied them together and put them in one scale. And he took a young goat and put it into the other scale, and the young goat outweighed them all. And Pharaoh was astonished at this dreadful vision, why the young goat should outweigh them all. And Pharaoh awoke, and see, it was a dream. And Pharaoh rose early in the morning and called all his servants and related to them the dream. And the men were greatly afraid. And the sovereign said to all his wise men, please interpret the dream which I dreamed, that I may know it. And Balaam, son of Beor, answered the sovereign and said to him, this means none else but a great evil that will spring up against Mizraim in the latter days. For a son will be born to Yasharal who will destroy all Mizraim and its inhabitants, and bring out the Israelites from Mizraim with a mighty hand. Now therefore, O sovereign, take counsel on this matter, that you may destroy the hope of the children of Yasharal and their expectation before this evil rises up against Mizraim. And the sovereign said to Balaam, and what shall we do to Yasharal? Only after certain manner did we at first counsel against them, and could not prevail over them. Now therefore also give advice against them, by which we may prevail over them. And Balaam answered the sovereign, saying, send now and call your 2 counselors, and we will see what their advice is on this matter, and afterward your servant will speak. And the sovereign sent and called his 2 counselors, Ruel the Midianite and Eob the Uthite. And they came and sat before the sovereign. And the sovereign said to them, look, you have both heard the dream which I have dreamed, and the interpretation thereof. Now therefore give counsel and know and see what is to be done to the children of Yasharal, whereby we may prevail over them before their evil shall spring up against them. And Ruel the Midianite answered the sovereign and said, may the sovereign live. May the sovereign live forever. If it seems good to the sovereign, let him rest from the Ebrim and leave them, and let them not stretch out his hand against them. For these are they whom Yahuwah chose in days of old, and took as the lot of his inheritance from among the nations of the earth, and the sovereigns of the earth. And who is there that stretch his hand against them without punishment, of whom their Eluah has not avenged? Indeed, you know that when Abraham went down to Mizraim, Pharaoh, the former sovereign of Mizraim, saw Sarah his wife, and took her for a wife, because Abraham said, she is my sister. For he was afraid lest the men of Mizraim should slay him because of his wife. And when the sovereign of Mizraim had taken Sarah, then Eluah struck him, and with his household with heavy plague, until he restored to Abraham his wife Sarah. Then he was healed. And Eluah punished Abimelech, the Gerarite, sovereign of the Pelashites, because of Sarah, wife of Abraham, in stopping up every womb from man to beast. Then there Eluah came to Abimelech in the dream by night and frightened them, in order that he might restore to Abraham Sarah, whom he had taken. And afterward all the people of Gerar were punished because of Sarah. And Abraham prayed to his Eluah for them, and he was entreated of him, and he healed them. And Abimelech feared all this evil that came upon him and his people. And he returned to Abraham his wife Sarah, and gave her to him with many gifts. He also did so to Yitzhak, when he had driven him from Gerar. And Eluah had done wonderfully to him, that all the water courses of Gerar were dried up, and their produced trees did not bring forth, until Abimelech of Gerar and Ahuzzath, one of his friends, and Pichol, the commander of his army, went to him, and they bent and bowed down before him to the ground. And they requested of him to pray for them, and he prayed to Yahuwah for them, and Yahuwah was entreated of him, and he healed them. Yaakov also, the perfect man, was delivered through his integrity from the hand of his brother Esau, and the hand of Laban the Aramean, his mother's brother, who had sought his life, likewise from the hand of the sovereigns of Canaan, who had come together against him and his children to destroy them. And Yahuwah delivered them out of their hands, but they turned upon them and smote them. For who had ever stretched out his hand against them without punishment? Indeed, Pharaoh the former, your father's father, raised Joseph, son of Yaakov, above all the princes of the land of Mizraim, when he saw his wisdom. For through his wisdom he rescued all the inhabitants of the land from the scarcity of food. After which he ordered Yaakov and his children to come down to Mizraim, in order that through their good the land of Mizraim and the land of Goshen might be delivered from the scarcity of food. Now therefore, if it seems good in your eyes, cease from destroying the children of Yasharal. If it is not your will that they shall dwell in Mizraim, send them out from here, that they may go to the land of Canaan, the land whose their ancestors sojourned. And when Pharaoh heard the words of Jethro, he was very wroth with him, so that he rose with shame from the sovereign's presence and went to Midian his land and took Joseph's rod with him. And the sovereign said to Eob the Euthite, "What do you say, Eob? And what is your advice regarding the Hebrew?" So Eob said to the sovereign, "Look, all the inhabitants of the land are in your power. Let the sovereign do as it seems good in his eyes." And the sovereign said to Balaam, "What do you say, Balaam? Speak your word that we may hear it." And Balaam said to the sovereign, "Of all that the sovereign has counseled against the Hebrew, they will be delivered, and the sovereign will not be able to prevail over them with any counsel. For if you think to lessen them by the flaming fire, you cannot prevail over them. For indeed their Eluah delivered Abraham their father from Kasdim. And if you think to destroy them with the sword, indeed Yitzhak their father was delivered from it, and a ram was placed in his place. And if you think to lessen them with hard and harsh labor, you will not prevail even in this. For their father Yaakov served Laban in all manner of hard work and prospered. Now therefore, O sovereign, hear my words, for this is the counsel which is counseled against them, by which your will prevail over them, and from which you should not depart. If it please the sovereign, let him order all their children which shall be born from this day onward to be thrown into the water, for by this you can wipe away their name, for none of them, nor of their fathers, were tried in this manner. And the sovereign heard the words of Balaam, and the word pleased the sovereign and the princes, and the sovereign did according to the word of Balaam. And the sovereign ordered a call to be issued and a law to be made throughout the land of Mizraim, saying, "Every male child born to the Hebrew from this day onward shall be thrown into the water." And Pharaoh called all his servants, saying, "Go now and seek throughout the land of Goshen where the children of Yasharal are, and see that every son born to the Hebrew shall be thrown into the river, but every daughter you shall let live." And when the children of Yasharal heard this word, which Pharaoh had commanded to cast their male children into the river, some of the people separated from their wives, but others clung to them. And from that day onward, when the time of delivery arrived to those women of Yasharal who had remained with their husbands, they went to the field to give birth there. And they brought forth in the field and left their children in the field and returned home. And Yahuwah, who had sworn to their ancestors to multiply them, sent one of his attending messengers, which are in the Shamayim, to wash every child in water, to anoint and wrap it, and to put it into hands two smooth stones, from one of which it sucked milk, and from the other honey. And he caused its hair to grow to its knees, by which it might cover itself, to comfort it and to cling to it through his compassion for it. And when Eluah had compassion over them, and had desired to multiply them upon the face of the land, he ordered his earth to receive them, to be preserved therein to the time of their growing up, after which the earth opened its mouth and vomited them out, and they sprouted forth from the city like the plants of the earth, and the grass of the forest, and they returned each to his clan and to his father's house, and they remained with them. And the infants of the children of Yasharal were on the earth like the plants of the field, through Eluah's favor to them. And when all the Mizrites saw this matter, they went out, each to his field, with his yoke of oxen and his plowshare, and they plowed it up as one plows the earth at seed time. And when they plowed, they were unable to hurt the infants of the children of Yasharal. So the people increased and grew exceedingly. And Pharaoh ordered his officers to go daily to Goshen, to seek for the infants of the children of Yasharal. And when they had sought and found one, they took it from its mother's bosom by force, and threw it into the river. But the female child they left with its mother. So the Mizrites did to the Yasharalites all the days. So we see the backstory in Jasher is not just that the Israelites, or rather the Egyptians, were afraid of the Israelites increasing. It was something else. Pharaoh had a dream. Pharaoh had a dream. It's important that we understand this, okay? because this all has to do with now as well. It all has to do with now. Okay? So what happens is Pharaoh had a dream. Pharaoh is sitting on his royal throne. He looks up and he sees a man standing before him holding a pair of market scales, right? This is what he sees. The old man places all the elders and nobles, the princes, the sovereigns, the rich men, the great men, the mighty men of Egypt on one side of the scale. And then he places one single tender nursing goat on the other side. Some translations say it's a goat. Other translations say it's a young lamb. In either case, it was a small lamb. And the one single lamb was placed on one side of the scale. And again, all of the great and mighty and rich and eloquent and noble men of Egypt were on another side. And it says that the lamb outweighed all the rulers and the elite of Egypt combined. And Pharaoh wakes up from this dream and he's like, what in the world? How could one lamb outweigh all of the Egyptians? How is this possible? How is this possible? And so Pharaoh calls his counselor, Balaam. And just so you know, this is the exact same Balaam that was called to curse the children of Yasharal in the days of Moses. It's the same Balaam whose donkey refused to move because a messenger was standing before him. Okay, it's the exact same one. And we see that there's a parallel, right? It's so important that we understand this, right? So here comes Balaam, and he interprets the dream to Pharaoh. And he says, Pharaoh, this is the interpretation of the dream. A child will soon be born to Yasharal, who will destroy all of Egypt and liberate the Israelites, the Hebrews. And Balaam explicitly advises Pharaoh to drown and to kill the children of Yasharal so that this prophecy does not come to pass. All of the children that were born from that day onward. And it's crazy because we see that there is constant oppression against the children of Yasharal, right? It's a constant oppression. And it's specifically against men. It's specifically against the males. It's specifically against the boys. And we still see this to this day. To this day, the issue of the world is not just to diminish and afflict Yasharal, but it is to attack the men. It is to target the men. Because remember, the men are the esteem of Yah, just as the woman is the esteem of man. Through the men, we see Yah's strength. Just like when we're reading in the Barakah of Jacob to Reuben, he says, Reuben, my firstborn, the seed of my strength, the seed of my might. You are my firstborn, and we as the children of Yasharal, we are the seed of the Most High Yah. We are his. But the men are supposed to be the examples of righteousness to show his esteem throughout the entire world. But the reason why even today Yasharal is so weak is because our boys are constantly being tossed into the sea to drown, into the waters. And this is the reason why there are women who are wailing. The wailing women are not just for the sake of repentance, but the wailing woman all throughout scripture is because of the targets against the sons, against Yasharal, the male figure. right? And we see this to this day, to this day. And it's not something that is new. This is something that's always been. This is something that's always existed. Because to target the sons of Yah is to declare war against Yah himself. Know this. It is necessary to know this. It is necessary to know this. You see that there is a parallel as well, right? A parallel with King Herod when he puts forth the decree. He puts forth a decree to kill all the male children because he too had a dream of a deliverer. Remember what we said, that every single person, and I mean each and every single one, whether they accomplish their goal or not, it was with the intent of giving us an arrow pointing to all that Messiah was going to be. The gospel is from the very beginning. It was there from the very beginning. It doesn't start in Matthew, John, Luke, James, Peter. It doesn't start there. It starts from the time when Yah said, "Let there be light." The good news came when the light came to be, when he was brought forth from the bosom of his Father. Be able to recognize this, to know this, to acknowledge it. Otherwise, all of your belief will be for no reason at all. You will not be able to fully understand it. It is extremely necessary that we comprehend the reason for all of these attacks. It is because the attack was always going to be against Messiah himself, and then those who are imitators of him. So we see in Matthew chapter 2 that it heavily mirrors the exact same thing that's in Jasher and that's in the scriptures, the ones that everybody knows, right? You see that Pharaoh is warned by astrologers reading the stars. Herod is warned by the Magi, the wise men, who are also astrologers tracking a star. Herod is threatened, right? Both Pharaoh and Herod are threatened by this newborn king, this deliverer that is going to come, who will threaten their power. And it's not their political power, if not their forceful hand, their hand of influence, of wickedness, perversion, lawlessness, rebellion against the Most High. And who will establish order, a return to the covenant, a return to the ancient path. Neither Pharaoh nor Herod knows the identity, so they're crazy. They don't know what to do, right? Because, oh man, they had a dream. Somebody's about to remove them off. Was this not the same thing that happened with Abraham as well? Was this not the exact same thing that happened with Abraham? Nimrod had a dream and was like, oh man, there's going to be someone who's going to bring righteousness. Let's go after Abraham. This is the same pattern. We have to recognize this, so that we can fully understand the gospel. The reason why this is important for us to know is because when you get to Revelation and you see that the dragon goes after the seed of the woman, or, the offspring of the woman rather, this will help you understand why all of this matters, right? Why is there always opposition? Why is it that they're always going after the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Why is it that they're always going after the chosen of Yah? Why is it that the imitators of HaMashiach are being persecuted? Why is that? Why is it that there are women who are constantly wailing because of the afflictions that they see in the Son of Yah? The Son meaning the nation, the entire nation of Yasharal. The mothers weep for their sons. The mother weeps for the nation. It's necessary that we fully understand it, right? So, just like Pharaoh, Herod's crazy self orders to kill all the male children. They start a massacre. They start going crazy and they don't care who they kill. They don't care if the baby just came out. They don't care if it's not even one that has to do with anything or anybody. Just kill them all. Kill all of them. Spare the girls, though. Spare the female. And so all the children aged 2 and under in Bethlehem were being killed. And you see that both schemes failed because Yah made a way of deliverance each time. Abraham was sent to Noah and to Shem, to Arpachshad, to learn the ways of Yah. He was hidden. Moses is hidden in a basket on the river, tossed to and fro by the waves, yet he is kept in safety. And the same way, a messenger of the Most High Yah speaks to Yosef and says to him, take Miriam and the child to Egypt. What a coincidence that it says, take Miriam and the child to Egypt. To save his life. It is so necessary to know that before every major deliverance, the same kinds of patterns take place. And this is the reason why it's so necessary to break everything down. Because if we don't, we just read through things, we're not going to be able to understand, because these are more than words on a page. This is an entire escape plan for us. This is an entire landmark. It is an entire instruction manual. It tells us exactly how things are going to be, what is going to take place, and how to overcome. We're given the instruction. Pharaoh has a dream. Balaam is summoned to give the interpretation. Balaam gives the interpretation. Balaam gives crazy ideas. The Israelites are persecuted. The Israelites are persecuted because they are about to be delivered. This is always how the story goes. This is always how the story goes. And the male child is always targeted. Look at Isaiah chapter 6. What does it say about the men? Look at Jeremiah chapter 18. What does it say about the male? Look at all of these chapters. What does it say? What is taking place? Moses' mother places him in a basket in the water and he is saved. He is saved. He comes upon Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh's daughter hears him and removes him from the basket. Miriam is right there watching, right? Miriam suggests a Hebrew nurse. The Hebrew nurse ends up being Jochebed. Jochebed is Moses' mother. And she rears her own son. Not only does she rear her own son, but she gets paid doing it. Look at the provision of Abba Yah. In the midst of affliction, those who are faithful, who are believing, who are trusting, not only are they delivered, but they are rewarded. It's amazing. Now, I just want to say this. Moses always knew that he was an Israelite. For those of us who grew up watching Disney, Pixar, Nickelodeon, and even right now, we got a whole bunch of Negroes putting out AI movies, putting out a whole bunch of Moses movies, still imitating the fictitious storyline that Moses didn't know. He did not go up to his adopted mom, Pharaoh's daughter, and say, "Why didn't you tell me I was an Israelite, Mom? Like, why'd you tell me that? Like, why didn't you tell?" That's not how it went down. So please, don't even entertain that idea. Moses knew who he was. He always knew. This was not hidden information from him. And if you see one of these AI movies that they got all up on YouTube, produced by Negroes, written by Negroes, imitating the storyline that he didn't know what or who he was, please turn it off. Do not allow them to get paid. Please. Please. Moses knew who he was. Moses knew who he was. He always knew. He always knew. Moses intervened to defend an Israelite who was being severely beaten by an Egyptian taskmaster. We can see it in Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. Going onward. And in those days, it came to be, when Moshe was grown, that he went out to his brothers and looked at their burden. And he saw a Mitzrayim striking a Hebrew, one of his brothers. So he turned this way and that way, meaning he did a double take. He was like, is anybody watching? He was looking. He was looking and watching. He looked this way and that way. And when he saw no one, he struck the Mitzrayim and hid him in the sand. And he went out the second day and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why do you strike your neighbor? And he said, who made you a head and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me like you killed them? Israelites get on my nerves. For real, they get on my nerves sometimes. Like, look at this haughty response, this arrogant response. This man, you seen how he went to defend his own brethren. And then because he want to do evil, he measures himself to an Egyptian. The same ones who, this is stuff that gets me so annoyed and so upset. Because it's like, you still see the same kind of attitude to this day. You still see the same kind of wicked behavior. I am certain that when that man, if he was there, seen Moses strike the Egyptian, he was like, yeah, Moses, yeah. One less Egyptian, yeah, Moses. Thank you, Moses. Thanks, Ak. Thanks, Aki. And then when he decides to do evil to his own brother, he forgot that his enemy was struck by one who loves his own people. Sometimes Yasharal can really be wicked. A wicked and stiff-necked people we are sometimes. Truly we are. You see this kind of bad behavior, ungratefulness all the time. It is crazy out here. It is crazy. Look what this man said. Who made you a head and judge over us? Oh, you want to do the same thing you did to me like you did to the Israelite? And Moshe feared and said, truly this matter is known. Truly this matter is known. And Pharaoh heard of this matter and he sought to kill Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. And the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. And they came and drew water, and they filled the trough to water their father's flock. But the shepherds came and drove them away. Then Moshe stood up and came to their rescue and watered their flock. And they came to Reuel, the same one that was telling Pharaoh, you better back off. These are the children of Yasharal. And just so you know, Reuel is a great-grandson of Abraham. Because remember, he was a Midianite. Midian comes from Abraham. Midian was a son of Abraham. You need to know that. Midian was a son of Abraham. Abraham will be a father of many nations. Midian is just one nation. Yasharal is just one nation. Midian and Yasharal are two nations. It's a simple math. But Yah chose Yasharal to be the firstborn. And they came to Ruel, their father, and he said, how is it that you have come so soon today? And they said, Mizraim rescued us from the hand of the shepherd. He also drew enough water for us and watered the flock. And he said to his daughters, and where is he? Why did you leave the man? Call him and let him eat bread. And Moshe agreed to dwell with the man. And he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moshe. And she bore him a son, and he called his name Gershom, where he said, I have become a sojourner in a foreign land. And it came to be after these many days that the sovereign of Mizraim died, and the children of Yasharal groaned because of the slavery. And they cried out, and their cry came up to Alua because of the slavery. And Alua heard their groaning, and Alua remembered his covenant in Abraham and Isaac and with Yaakov. And Alua looked on the children of Yasharal, and Alua knew. Alua knew. Now, a third Pharaoh passed away. Now a fourth one has risen. And at this point, and even before, Moshe was chosen from the time he was born to be the one who would stand as proxy deliverer. Not the deliverer, but proxy deliverer. All of these things are to give us an insight of how things will be in the latter end. He was humble. The scriptures say that Moshe was a humble man. Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. And the man Moshe was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. He was trustworthy. He was not arrogant. He was not prideful. He was not boastful. But the man Moshe was very humble, more than all the men who were on the face of the earth. More than all the men who were on the face of the earth. And you got a whole bunch of people nowadays who are arrogant, who are prideful, who have a false sense of humility. The arrogant man says, I am humble. Yet the humble man need not say he is humble because his humility is known by the Most High Yah. And yet they appoint themselves masters and rulers. And what they are nothing but authors of confusion and followers and lovers of self. It says that nobody was as meek and humble as Moshe in all the earth. Do you see why he was chosen? Yah doesn't just choose random people. He don't just say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a nigga by his toe. He doesn't do that. He has reasons why he chooses people, why he calls them. And the way I see that there are 5 billion people who are all of a sudden saying they've been chosen by the Most High Yah, I got a problem with it. I really do. Because there's a scarcity of the number of people who are chosen. And yet, there is a plethora of people who boastfully and arrogantly assign themselves positions that they were never given. It's crazy out here in these streets. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Let's go to Hakama, chapter 10, so we can fully understand why Abaya chose. Why he chose the man Moshe. Hakama, chapter 10, verse 15 through 16. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. She entered into the being of the servant of Yahuwah and withstood awesome sovereigns with great wonders and signs, rendered to the righteous a reward for their labors, guided them in a marvelous way, and was a cover unto them by day, and a light by stars in the nighttime, brought them through the sea of reeds, and led them through deep waters. And she drowned their enemies and threw them up from the depth of the sea. Therefore the righteous plundered the wicked, and praised your Kodesh name, O Yahweh, and with one accord exalted your hand that fought for them. For wisdom opened the mouth of the dumb and taught the tongues of those who could not speak. He's talking about Moshe, people. Chokmah chapter 10, verse 15 through 21. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. She entered into the being of the servant, the wisdom of Yah. The wisdom of Yah that was with Yah from the beginning is always looking for someone who is counted worthy for her to dwell and abide in, to make Kodesh, to keep in the perfect way. And Moshe was counted worthy. Moshe was counted worthy, righteous, a faithful servant, trustworthy, enough that wisdom said, I will dwell in this being. Not many people have this kind of gift. A lot of people are smart, not enough people are wise. And wisdom opened the mouth of the dumb, not because he was dumb, but because he was meek. And he did not speak ahead of Yah. He did not run ahead of Yah. He did not move ahead of Yah. And he taught the tongue of Moshe to speak. She taught the tongue of Moshe to speak. How do we know? Did Moshe not say, I cannot speak, Abba Yah, send somebody else, I cannot speak. But some of us would just go, oh yeah, Yah, send me. I'll do it. Because I want people to call me prophet. I want people to call me king and ruler. I want people to look at me and know that I'm somebody. But it's not about you. It's all about Yah. It's all about Yah. Let us go to Sirach, chapter 45, verse 1 through 5. Sirach, chapter 45, verse 1 through 5. And he brought out from him a kind man. Oh, Moshe was a kind man who found favor in the sight of all flesh. Even Moshe, beloved of Eluah and men, whose remembrance is Baruch. He made him like the esteemed Kodashim and exalted him so that his enemies stood in fear of him. By his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him esteemed in the sight of sovereigns, and gave him a command for his people, and showed him part of his esteem. He showed him part of his esteem. He showed him Messiah. He kadosh him in his trustworthiness and humility. He was trustworthy. He was humble and chose him out of all men. Do you see why Yah chose Moshe? He caused him to hear his voice and brought him into the thick cloud and gave him commands before his face, even the law of life and knowledge, that he might teach Yaakov his covenant and Yasharal his right ruling. Moshe was above Aaron. Moshe was chosen. Moshe stood as proxy Eluah. Moshe stood as proxy Alua before all mankind because he was trustworthy. He was trustworthy. And now you can understand when it talks about Messiah, who did not call himself or think himself equal to Alua. Remember, everything that Yah did with others, he is pointing to Messiah. Messiah did not think himself equal to Alua, though being what? He has been given kingdom agency, full authority to walk and to exercise everything that has been given to him by the Father. It is amazing. It is amazing. Moshe was proved to be obedient despite opposition. He interceded for Yasharal after their sins. He placed Yah's honor above his own. And when he was called by Yah, he was not haughty or arrogant, boastful or prideful. But look at his response. Let us go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 4 downward. Exodus chapter 3, verse 4 downward. Look at what it says. And Moshe said, well, I'll start at 3. Let me turn aside now and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. And Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see. And Alua called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is Kodesh ground. And he said, I am the Alua of your father, the Alua of Abraham, the Alua of Isaac, the Alua of Yaakov. And Moshe hid his face. You think somebody who didn't know who he was would hide his face? He knew of Alua. He hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Alua. And Yahuwah said, I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Misraim, and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I know their sorrow. And I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Mizrites, and to bring them up from the land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites. And now see, the cry of the children of Yasharal has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Mizrites oppressed them. And now come, I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Yasharal, out of Misraim. And Moshe said to Alua, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, that I should bring the children of Yasharal out of Misraim? And he said, Because I am with you, and this is to you the sign that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Misraim, you are to serve Alua on this mountain. And Moshe said to Alua, See, when I come to the children of Yasharal and say to them, The Alua of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And Alua said to Moshe, I am that which I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the children of Yasharal, I am has sent you, or has sent me to you. And Alua said further to Moshe, Thus you are to say to the children of Yasharal, Yahuwah, Alua of your fathers, the Alua of Abraham, the Alua of Isaac, the Alua of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Yah reveals himself to Moshe. And he gives a humble response. He gives a humble response. You see, it's amazing the way that Abba Yah operates. It's amazing when you can discern his plan. And he gives you insight to be able to fully understand. When you read Jubilees chapter 1, verse 1, you see how special Moshe is. I don't have a favorite figure in the scriptures. I really don't. But I'm always amazed by those who Yah chooses. And I find myself asking Abba Yah, allow me to be a servant like that. If you ever decide to choose me, Abba Yah, because of your foreknowledge, then let it be because of this reason too. That I am trustworthy to you. That I think myself nothing, and not all that fake and humble talk. Strike me before I fake humility. And I know what I'm saying when I say it. Because I know that Abba Yah can do all these things. Yah will not be mocked. But I'm just so amazed. I'm so amazed at how Abba Yah chooses people who are faithful to him. Let's just read Jubilees chapter 1 to verse 4. Chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 4. And it came to be in the first year of the children of Yasharel coming out of Misraim, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Eluah spoke to Moshe, saying, come up to me on the mountain, and I shall give you 2 tablets of stone, of the Torah and the command, which I have written that you may teach them. And Moshe went up into the mountain of Eluah, and the esteem of Yahuwah dwelt on the Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud. And the appearance of the esteem of Yahuwah was like a flaming fire on the top of the mountain. And Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. And Eluah taught him. Eluah taught him the earlier and the latter history of the division of all the days of the law and of the witness. Yah trusted Moshe so much to instruct his people that he spoke with him and he taught him. And still, Moshe did not think himself equal to Eluah. So Moshe is chosen, and he knows to go, right? Yah sees the afflictions of his people, Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. He intends to fulfill his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Exodus chapter 3, verse 6. Exodus chapter 3, verse 15 to 17. He chooses Moses to be his messenger and proxy deliverer. I encourage you all to read Exodus chapter 4 whenever you get a chance. Exodus chapter 4. Not really that long. about 31 verses. Right? So we see how it's amazing. I want to identify verse verse 10 in chapter 4. It says, Moshe said to Yahuwah, "O Yahuwah, I am not a man of words, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." If you want to know why Moshe was saying that, it's good to read Jasher, because it explains what it is that happened. It says that we like to repeat that Moshe had a stutter. Moshe did not have a stutter. That's just us repeating Christian doctrine. Moshe didn't say that. That's all, folks. He didn't do that. Moshe had a heavy tongue. When he was a small child, he took coal and he put it on his mouth. But if you know what that is, from the time of his youth, Yah purified his mouth. Read Isaiah chapter 6. Read the book of James. Right? That is what took place. Moshe's mouth was purified. His tongue was purified by coal. His mouth became purified from the time he was a child. Coal purified his mouth. He was not saying that's all, folks. He wasn't doing that. So please, stop repeating these things. He had a heavy tongue. He was not a stutterer. He had a heavy tongue. And Yahuwah said to him, "Who has made man's mouth, or who makes dumb or deaf or seeing or the blind? Is it not I?" says Yahuwah. This is what we just read in in Hakma. When he says he made the dumb speak, he's talking about Moshe. The messenger of Yah guided his hand to pick up coal, to touch his mouth. Moshe's mouth was purified from the time he was a child. Praise Yah for his early provision and things that we do not understand, things that we think are evil or wicked, but it is the refining process. For I'm sure that Moshe said, "Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips, living amongst a generation of people of unclean lips." And yet coal touched his mouth, and his mouth was purified. And what man thought to be dumb was Yah's providence. It's amazing. Truly amazing how Abba Yah works. It's amazing. Look at verse 15 through 16 of the same chapter, Exodus chapter 4, verse 15 to 16. "And you shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I am with your mouth and with his mouth, and I shall teach you what to do. And he shall speak for you to the people, and it shall be that he shall be a mouth for you, and you shall be as a lua for him." Amazing. Let's go to Exodus chapter 7, verse 1 through 2. Exodus chapter 7, verse 1 through 2. "So Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, I have made you an alua to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother is your prophet, your Nabi. And you shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh to let the children of Yasharal go out of his land." Look at this. If you want to understand Messiah, You need to understand everybody that Abaya chose. Then you won't be having these kinds of arguments. Then you won't be having arguments that don't make sense. Then you won't be wasting your time on matters that can never save you. You want to know something? Look at all that Yah has done. Look at all whom Yah has chosen. Yah provides kingdom agency to Moshe to stand before Pharaoh and the peoples as a Lua. Moshe was not a Lua. He was given kingdom agency. He was given the right to stand as a Lua. And he did not think himself equal to a Lua, though he was given authority to stand as a Lua. Think of Yahusha. His name shall be Emmanuel, meaning Yah is with us. Delegated authority. It is amazing. It is amazing. So Yahusha goes, or rather, rewind. Moshe goes to Egypt now with his wife and children. Eventually, they are sent back. And then here comes the plague. Right? He goes to speak to Pharaoh. Pharaoh's like, what you talking about, Moses? Get out of my face. I don't know you're a Lua. I don't care about your Lua. I will do what I want to do. And I'll do it how I want to do it. And because you want to come up here and talk big and bad, I'm going to make the afflictions of your people much worse. Right? So here comes the plague. You need to be able to see the parallel. Remember Revelation. Understand it. There are plagues that takes place because Pharaoh hardens his heart. First, waters turn to blood. Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 through 15. Second plague, frogs cover the land. Exodus chapter 8, verse 1 through 15. Gnats or lice spread. Exodus chapter 8, verse 16 through 19. Swarm of flies. Exodus chapter 8, verse 20 through 32. Pestilence on livestock. Exodus chapter 9, verse 1 through 7. Boils on peoples and animals. Exodus chapter 9, verse 8 through 12. Hail mixed with fire. Exodus chapter 9, verse 13 through 35. Locust. Exodus chapter 10, verse 1 through 20. Darkness for 3 days. Exodus chapter 10, verse 21 to 29. Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 41. Exodus chapter 11. Wait. Maybe not. We'll leave it at Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 41. Now, I want to talk about the darkness for 3 days, right? It's so important. All of these plagues are important. The first thing I want to say is it's really important that we know that these plagues did not take place back to back to back to back to back. We really have to get that out of our idea because some of us are still stuck on watching Prince of Egypt. We think that's how it went down. Some of us are so infatuated with watching these AI movies, whatever it is that they got on YouTube, all of these 1950s, 1940s, 1970 Moses movies, thinking that it was something that took place over 4 days. You have to have your expectation right. Okay? It didn't happen like that. It took time. It was over a time, over a span of time. Because if you're looking for stuff to take place on first day, this takes place, on second day, this takes place, on third day, that takes place, you're going to be in for a whole loop. The righteous are patient. They don't expect things swiftly because they need to wait on Yah. They know to wait on Yah. You're going to miss a lot of things if you don't understand how Yah works. Okay, that's the first point. The second point is there's a lot of people right now. A lot of people, and not even right now. I remember about 3 years ago, there was a whole bunch of people all up on YouTube saying that they had dreams and visions about 3 days of darkness. Make sure you don't get out of your house. Make sure you buy enough ammo. Make sure you have a generator. Make sure you have candles. I remember people going out into the stores buying out a whole bunch of candles. Just like when Trump said, buy the toilet paper. You need toilet paper. We know we have COVID-19. They're buying up all the toilet paper. And now you got Negro Trumps going around saying, buy candles. You need to buy candles. Candles is what you need to buy. Right? The orange man said, buy toilet paper. The melanated wannabe orange man says, go buy candles. Stop doing crazy stuff, people. Stop following the trend. Stop doing crazy stuff. Because you're going to lose your mind. And you'll never be able to hear Yah because you're following people all the time. Don't allow people to give you an interpretation of scripture. Let Yah do that for you. Otherwise, you're going to confuse toilet paper for candles and candles for toilet paper. Stop being crazy, people. There's a whole bunch of people all over YouTube even now. They've come up again out of the rock, out of under the rocks, out of the caves. Y'all forgot about what they said 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So now they're unashamed and showing their faces again. Creeping and crawling like spiders, giving people false information again. 3 days of darkness is going to come. Buy candles. Make sure it's specifically candles. Make sure that you allow your house to be dark. Don't let anybody see that there's light in your house. If y'all don't get out of here with that mess, get out of here. I need to read for you Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 41. I'm sure, depending on the translation you have, it might read different. But Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 41. Okay? Context is necessary. Oh, sorry. Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 41. Okay. And it reads, and Eluah sent darkness upon Misraim, so that the whole land of Misraim and Pathros became dark for 3 days, so that a man could not see his hand when he lifted it to his mouth. At that time, many of the people of Yasharal died, who had rebelled against Yahuwah, and who would not listen to Moshe and Aaron, and did not believe them that Eluah had sent them. Trust and believe this is the same thing that's going to take place again. Except this kind of darkness will be a different kind. Okay? And who has said, we will not go out from Misraim lest we perish with hunger in a desolate wilderness. And who would not listen to the voice of Moshe. And Yahuwah plagued them in the 3 days of darkness, and the Yasharalites buried them in those days without the Mizraites knowing of them or rejoicing over them. And the darkness was very great in Misraim for 3 days, and any person who was standing when the darkness came remained standing in his place. And he that was sitting remained sitting, and he that was lying continued lying in the same state. And he that was walking remained sitting on the ground in the same spot. And this matter came to pass on all the Mizraites until the darkness had passed away. And the days of darkness passed, and Yahuwah said to Moshe and Aaron, to the children of Yasharal, celebrate your festival and perform your Pesach. For see, I come in the midst of the night among all the Mistrites, and I will smite all their firstborn, from the firstborn of a man to the firstborn of a beast. And when I see your Pesach, I will pass over you. Okay. There is this thing right now going around telling people that 3 days of darkness is coming. I need you to know that nowhere except in the book of Jasher does it talk about 3 days of darkness. If somebody can send it to me, I will gladly, correct my mistake. It talks about darkness in the scripture. You see it in Isaiah. You see it in Ezekiel. You see it in Joel. You see it throughout the scriptures, but nowhere does it say 3 days. I need you to know that the reason why a whole bunch of people are talking about 3 days is not because of Jasher chapter 80. They are talking about 3 days of darkness because of a Catholic tradition. They are talking about 3 days of darkness, imitating a Catholic doctrine, and then they are using scripture to back it up. Okay? They are using Jasher to back it up. Probably this Catholic nun took it out of Jasher, just like they have the Nostradamus saying the world was going to end in 2012 and a whole bunch of people was falling off cliffs, diving off of buildings, throwing themselves into waters and burning themselves to death, selling all of their belongings because they follow trends and they don't know Yah. Don't make people make you do crazy stuff. Okay? A lot of people are literally, and especially Yasharal, because the Yasharal, sometimes they gotta copy everybody. And everybody wanna be prophets. Everybody wanna be prophetesses. Everybody wanna be Moshe. Everybody wanna be Miriam. Everybody wanna be somebody except for the somebody that Yah wants them to be. That is how it is. So this thing of 3 days of darkness is a teaching and a prophecy by the blessed Anna Maria Taigi, however you say her name. This is based on Catholic doctrine. And basically she says that for 3 days, it will be total darkness. Right? It'll be so black, so dark outside, people won't be able to move. I wonder where she got that from. Right? Catholics have the Apocrypha in their Bible. Okay, this is not nothing how do you say, prophetic. She read Jasher and came up with this in the last days. Evil would be punished, prophesied Anna Maria Taigi. Only blessed candles would give light. You got a whole bunch of Negroes over here telling people, I had a vision and Yah told me to tell you all that 3 days of darkness will come. Please, everybody, go to Walmart, go to the Dollar Tree, buy candles. Meanwhile, all they did was went on the internet, did a little research, and then put Yah's name in it. And got people looking crazy and doing crazy stuff. She prophesied that the faithful should remain inside their houses. Don't leave your houses. Stay inside because everybody outside of the house will be killed and slaughtered and utterly destroyed. If you are a person who is going around telling people that there are 3 days of darkness coming, and if you are people who are listening to this mess, then you are repeating, endorsing, supporting Catholic tradition. Okay? It's important. As I heard it, it's going around. People, it's going around and it's getting out of hand. And people are actually losing their marbles. And everybody's hopping on the bandwagon of this foolery. So we see that after the darkness comes the death of the firstborn of every child. Now, this is the thing that's really amazing. It's not the firstborn male, it's the firstborn child. The firstborn child of every Egyptian and animal that belongs to the Egyptians. And this is in Joshua chapter 80, verse 42 through 63. We'll leave Exodus chapter 11, verse 1 through 10. Exodus chapter 12, verse 29 through 30. And so now when it is time for, when this takes place, this is the one thing that makes Pharaoh be like, oh no, there's death in the midst of Egypt. There was a great cry, a great outcry. And so he says, go on, get out of here. Now, one thing I want to say to you that I almost forgot was that when Moshe went up to Pharaoh, and you can answer this question yourself. When Moshe went up to Pharaoh and said, allow my people to go into the wilderness to praise our Eluah for 3 days, and after 3 days we will come back. Was he lying? Was he being dishonest? Was he just making stuff up? Or was he prophesying? He was prophesying. Because after 3 days, we did come back to Egypt. After 3 days, we were sold into captivity. Moshe knew from the very beginning that this was temporary, that us going to the wilderness was temporary. We did go to the wilderness for 3 days to worship Eluah. And after 3 days, we did come back to Egypt, and we're still here. We went to Egypt for 3 days, and we came back to Egypt, and we're still here. Ask Yah for insight. Because after the 3rd day, we were scattered throughout all the 4 corners of the earth on ships. Okay? So after the darkness and after the death, the Israelites plundered the Egyptians. Exodus chapter 12, verse 35 through 36. Exodus chapter 3, verse 21 through 22. And when the Israelites left, they took the bones of the dead with them. They were led by a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. The Egyptians pursued the Israelites. They said that they could go. They even gave them their things, and the Israelites plundered them. But yet, Pharaoh and his army pursued the Israelites. Where do we see this? Where do we see this at? Remember, this is the gospel. We're told the end from the beginning. Right? There's plagues. And let's backtrack a little bit. The boys are being slaughtered and killed. They say, spare the female. Then a deliverer is chosen. He goes into the wilderness. He spends time with Yah. In the wilderness, he is called by Yah. He is elected. He is appointed. He is assigned kingdom agency. He is sent to go speak to Pharaoh. He says, let my people go. Pharaoh says, no. Plagues come. Vengeance is taken. the Egyptians are frightened and terrified. They say, "Get out of here." The Israelites plunder them. And yet, Pharaoh is roused by anger and he pursues the Israelites. And they come before a body of water, and the earth gives way, a highway for the righteous, and they walk on dry land. And when Pharaoh and his chariots pursue them, the water swallows, or the earth swallows the water, and they're able to pursue them no longer. Where do we see this at? We're told the end from the beginning. We're told the end from the beginning. Let's go to the end. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 14 through 17. Revelation chapter 12, verse 14 through 17. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river, which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11, verse 15. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 15. And it reads, "And Yahuwah shall put under the ban the tongue of the sea of Misraim, and he shall wave his hand over the river." What? Dun 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 dun. Right? This is amazing. And Yahuwah shall put under the ban the tongue of the sea of Misraim, and he shall wave his hand over the river with the might of his ruach, and shall strike it in the 7 streams, and shall cause men to tread it in sandals. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, those left from Asher, and it was for Yasharal in the day when he came up from the land of Misraim. We are told the end from the beginning. Put your seatbelt on. Let me read it again. And Yahuwah shall put under the ban the tongue of the sea of Misraim, and he shall wave his hand over the river. Who waved his hand over the river? Huh? The proxy deliverer? And now the true deliverer will come and wave his hand and shall strike the sea. And instead of the body of water being parted in 2, it will be parted into 7, and shall cause men to tread it in sandals. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, those left from Asher, as it was for Yasharal in the day when he came up from the land of Misraim. And just as Pharaoh pursued, so will the dragon. So will the dragon. This is amazing. Moshe led them to the wilderness where they engaged in battle before they entered the promised land. They went into the wilderness. Moshe went up on the mountain. He had an encounter with Yah. He saw Yah's esteem. He was given the law, statutes, and commands. His face shone so bright, he had to wrap his face. He heard the voice of Yah. And then he led the children of Yasharal into exploits. He brought them into battle before they were to take the land of Yasharal from their enemies. But they remained in the wilderness, learning and being instructed by Moshe before they entered into the land. What does this mean? We are told the end from the beginning. This is the gospel, people. It doesn't start in Matthew. You don't get to throw away all of this and say, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believed in him can live however way they want. They just got to believe in JC and live. No. There's things that happen. The good news is all of this. Our escape, our deliverance, us being instructed righteousness, being passed under the rod, being purged, being delivered by the one that Yah chose from the beginning, by the light himself. Wow, it's amazing. Let's go to Hosea chapter 2, verse 14 through 15. Hosea chapter 2, verse 14 through 15. Remember, Moses led them to the wilderness where they engaged in battle before they entered the promised land. Okay? Hosea chapter 2, verse 14 through 15. Look what it says. Therefore, see, I am alluring her and shall lead her into the wilderness and shall speak to her heart. The people had to be taught to be circumcised in the wilderness. What does Deuteronomy chapter 5 and chapter 6 say, people? Therefore, see, I am alluring her and shall lead her into the wilderness and shall speak to her heart. Who is she? She is the woman that is brought into the wilderness for times and half a time. Like, it's amazing. Like, she is the woman in Revelation chapter 12, verse 14 through 17. Like, do you see? Can you see? Can you see how our end is going to be? Can you see? Can you see it? He says, I am alluring her and shall lead her into the wilderness and shall speak to her heart and give to her vineyards from there and the valley of Achor as a door of expectation. And there she shall respond in the days of her youth, as in the day when she came up from the land of Mizraim. Go back and read Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. When she is brought into the wilderness for a time and a times and half a time. This is what Yah is going to do with her there. It's amazing. Whoa. Before she goes into the promised land. Whoa. Put your seatbelt on. I don't want you to crash. It's amazing. This is our end. This is what we're aiming for. To be the ones that are allured to that place. And being kept there for times and a times and half a time. Yes, the dragon will go back to the remnant of her offspring. But to the one that is lured for a time and a times and half a times, there Abba Yah will speak to her heart and teach her. It's amazing. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20. verse 34 through 37. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34 through 37. And it reads, 34 through 37. And I shall bring you out from the people and gather you out of the land where you are scattered with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. Plagues. And I shall bring you into the wilderness of the people and shall enter into judgment with you face to face. We're not going to no promised land yet. We have to be circumcised. As I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mizraim, so shall I enter into judgment with you, declares the Master Yahuwah, and I shall make you pass under the rod and shall bring you into the bond of the covenant. Whoa! Rewind. Take it back now, y'all. And I shall bring you out from the peoples and gather you out of the lands where you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. And I shall bring you into the wilderness of the peoples and shall enter into judgment with you face to face there, as I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mizraim. So I shall enter into judgment with you, declares the Master Yahuwah, and I shall make you pass under the rod and shall bring you into the bond of the covenant. Verse 38 is kind of scary. Remember when the earth opened up and swallowed the rebels? And it says, and purge the rebels from amongst you and those who transgress against me. From the land where they sojourn, I bring them out, but they shall not come into the land of Yasharal, and you shall know that I am Alua. It's amazing. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 35, verse 1. Isaiah chapter 35, verse 1. And it reads, let the wilderness and the dry place be glad for them, and let the desert rejoice and blossom as the rose. Let the wilderness and the dry place be glad for them, and let the desert rejoice and blossom as the rose. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, verse 3. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 3. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of Yahuwah, make straight in the desert a highway for our Alua. Now let's go to Zechariah chapter 14, verse 4 through 14. This puts it all together for us. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4 through 14. We had Moshe. Who do we have now? And in that day, his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two, from east to west, a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of my mountain, for the valley of the mountain reaches to Atzal. And you shall flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, sovereign of Yahudah. And Yahuwah my Alua shall come, all the set apart ones with you. And in that day it shall be, there is no light, it is dark. It shall be one day, which is known to Yahuwah, neither day nor night. But at evening time, there shall be light. If you go to Genesis, can you see? Like, it's really amazing. Let's go to Genesis real quick. stay in Zechariah. It's so amazing. Like, you can't help but be like, whoa. Like, yeah, you tell us the end from the beginning. Truly you do. Truly you do, Abba Yah. It is amazing. It is amazing how he does things. Look at what it says. Look, it says, look what it says. And in that day it shall be, there is no light. It is dark. And it shall be one day which is known to Yahuwah, neither day nor night. But at evening time there shall be light. Right? Listen. Listen to what it says. It's very important. I'll read it again. And in that day it shall be, there is no light. It is dark. And it shall be one day which is known to Yahuwah, neither day nor night. But at evening time there shall be light. Now I will read Genesis chapter 1. Okay? In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, let light come to be. And light came to be. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. Listen. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. He called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning one day. Okay. And it shall be one day, which is known to Yahuwah, neither day nor night, but at evening there shall be light. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning one day. Behold, the light hath come. Like, it's just amazing. Can you see? It's neither day nor night, because the sun nor the moon is out. So it is as if the face of Yah was hovering over the deep again. And Yah said, let there be light, and light came to be. And the light came to be, and he stood on the Mount of Olives. And it was evening, and yet there was light. It's amazing. And in that day it shall be that living waters flow from Jerusalem, half of them toward the eastern sea, half of them toward the western sea, in summer as well as in winter. Yahuwah shall be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahuwah, and his name one. All the land shall be changed into a desert plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And she shall be raised up and inhabited in her place, from Benjamin's gate to the place of the first gate, and the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel to the winepress of the sovereign. And they shall dwell in her, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this is the plague with which Yahuwah plagued all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall decay while they stand on their feet, and their eyes decay in their sockets, and their tongues decay in their mouths. And it shall be in that day that a great confusion from Yahuwah is among them, and every one of them shall seize the hand of his neighbor, and his hand rise up against his neighbor's hand. And Yahudah shall fight at Jerusalem as well. And the wealth of all the nations round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and garments in great quantity. What's the point of me reading all of this, right? So we know that there's going to be ones that Abaya will bring to a place for time and a times and half a time. There they will be kept. And then the dragon goes back and wages war with the remnant of her offspring. And then we see that she goes through refinement, through purging, through purification, where they have to not love their lives unto death. And we know that with the rest of them, Hamashiach comes and brings the whole rest of us into the wilderness. And he puts his feet on the Mount of Olives. And before we go into Jerusalem, there is a war, just like Moshe, where we plunder all the nations all around us. However that happens, people like to say that's the war of Gog and Magog. Or some people like to say it's Armageddon. A whole bunch of Christian doctrine. There is a war of Gog and Magog, and there is one of Armageddon, but it's not the way we've been taught it in the church. That we are waiting for HaMashiach to fight. It's not going to be the kind of war that many expect, though. But it will be like Moshe. That before they entered into the promised land, they engaged in battle. And this is the reason why HaMashiach's feet is found on the Mount of Olives. And all the nations come and surround and try and fight him. But we see that Judah fights. We see that Judah fights Benjamin, Simeon. And this is where Jacob is prophesying about the barakahs of his sons. Jacob is prophesying when he is about to die and stretches his feet. He's talking about that time. He's talking about those days that are to come. When you read, you'll be able to understand. So Moshe goes up to the mountain and is given the laws on stone, written with the fingerprint of Yah. Right? Similarly, HaMashiach will gather us from Egypt and Babylon, from all the Egypts and all the Babylons, and will stand on the mountain as the living stone, the very Torah. For out of Zion goes forth the law and the word of Yah. And now you can understand Matthew chapter 17, verse 2 to 3. Moshe goes up to the mountain. He sees Yah's esteem. Yah gives him the law on stone. HaMashiach comes from the mountain. He is the stone that comes down and teaches man. Let's go to Matthew chapter 17, verse 2 to 3. Matthew chapter 17, verse 2 to 3. It's amazing. It is amazing. And he was transformed before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became white as light. And see, Moshe and Eliyahu appeared to them, talking with him. Rewind. And he was transformed before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as light. And see, Moshe and Eliyahu appeared to them, talking with them. And you understand this part. Let's go to Exodus chapter 34, verse 29 through 30. Exodus chapter 34, verse 29 through 30. And it reads, and it came to be when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai, while the 2 tablets of the witness were in Moshe's hand, when he came down from the mountain, that Moshe did not know that the skin of his face shone, since he had spoken with him. And Aaron and all the children of Yasharal looked at Moshe and saw the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Let's go to verse 33 to 35 of the same chapter. And when Moshe ended speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moshe went in before Yahuwah to speak with him, he would remove the veil until he came out. And when he came out, he spoke to the children of Yasharal what he had been commanded. And the children of Yasharal would see the face of Moshe, that the skin of Moshe's face shone. And Moshe would put the veil on his face again until he went in to speak with him. Do you understand what's going on? Why was it that when HaMashiach went up to the mountain, his face shone, he was transformed? Why, when Moshe was up on the mountain, his face shone? Remember that we were made in the image of Yah and his son. And it wasn't that they were made with fingers. Yes, fingers is there, but that's not what we're talking about, because if you just stick, well, what it means is that HaMashiach has eyes and we have eyes. We weren't created like the animal. That's not what it's talking about, though. You're looking at the surface. Yeah, but it's talking about dominion and authority. No, that's not what it's talking about either. Yes, Abba Yah gave us dominion, but that's not what he meant when he said, let us make man in our image. He was talking about light. In your light, we see light. He was talking about light. Therefore, be children of light. Therefore, be imitators of light. The light came to the world and they did not know him. And Yah said, let there be light, and light came to be. And HaMashiach is the lamp, and Yah is the light. There will be no need for the sun, or the moon, or the stars. But if Abba Yah is light, and HaMashiach is the lamp, and we are imitators of HaMashiach, are we not lamp? Do we need the sun and the moon when we reign with HaMashiach and who is there too? Will we have to hide our face from Abba Yah? Or will we be able to keep our face unveiled like Moshe when we speak to him? Why was it that Moshe and Eliyahu or Elijah appeared on the mountain? Think about the Ark of the Covenant and what was inside. Tablets of stone, the manna, and Aaron's rod that budded. Think about Moshe being the law, Eliyahu being the prophet, and HaMashiach being the faithful witness in the covenant. And these three testify of every word that Abba Yah has spoken, the law, the witness, and the covenant. These three on the mountain of transfiguration, and we see the light in all three. It's amazing. The testimony, the witness, and the covenant. This is the gospel. This is the good news. This is the Betsora. And by it we live, we thrive, we prosper. We are transformed into children of light. It's amazing. All praises to Abba Yah. This makes me feel like dancing. It really does. I want to do backflips and cartwheels. I want to do a whole bunch of stuff. I want to run up and down an aisle. I don't do church, but if there was a church, this would be something to make me run. I'd be a runner. Ever seen Forrest Gump? I'd be running. I wouldn't know where to stop because it's too amazing. It's amazing. It truly is. All praises to Abaya. All praises to Abaya. Thank you, Abba. So we're going to leave it here for now. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the entire covenant. The entire covenant. What it was that Abaya required of us, what we did not do, what we did do, what he despised, all of that. And what was our consequence. And then we will speak about the kinsman redeemer and the plan of restitution. Or rather, restoration, not restitution. But this is it. This is the full gospel, part 7. I pray that you're as excited and overjoyed as I am, because I know, you just have to love, yeah. You have to love him. So, let us ask Abaya to make us like Moshe, to make us like Abraham, like Isaac, like Jacob, like Noah, like Shem, like Seth, like Enoch, like all of these men of example, of example, like it's necessary. We can't do without him. Truly we can't. Let's ask him to examine our hearts and to remember that it's about him. It's not about anybody else but Yah himself. All praises to Abaya. Abaya, we come before your presence and we give you thanks for everything that you've done. Thank you, Abaya, for this Torah that you've given to us. Thank you, Abaya, that we're fully able to understand what it is that you have for us. All of the promises, the calling, the intention of righteousness that you have for us, that you've called us by your name. You told us the end from the beginning so that we could know that you are who you say you are. We just praise you. We magnify you. My heart is full, Abaya. Recounting your barakah, seeing how you've delivered us time and time again. How you are so faithful and you are so kind. You are perfect. You are matchless. You are inconceivable. You just are everything. You are perfect. And I praise you. Allow us to treasure this truth. Because if we treasure it, we'll never walk away from you. We'll never do our own thing. We'll never walk contrary to you. Because the truth is good. The truth is righteous. The truth liberates. And when we know the truth, we're able to worship you in truth and we're able to love your truth. Hallelujah to you, O Most High. Be exalted, O Allah. Be esteemed and be magnified, for there is none like you. We lift up clean hands to you, Abaya. And we remember that if we are here today, it is because you are faithful. And because it truly is all about you. Thank you, Abaya. Thank you, Abaya. May your goodness and mercy follow us all our days. All of our days. All of our days. For always and forevermore. In the name and the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach. So be it. And be it so. All praises to Abba. Hallelujah. I just want to remind you all that the Wailing Woman, we're still laboring. We have not stopped. We will be going to Florida, Abba willing, in the month of July. And if you would like to continue to support us, please feel free to do so. You can send donations to $ Whale for Yah 7. Yes. Or you can send a Zelle or PayPal through the messenger526@gmail.com. And of course, you can send emails regarding prayer requests or questions if you just want to know what we do. We do have a website that's up now. It is Whale, WAIL, number 4, Yah.com. And it will redirect you to the Torah and Yahusha. That's what you'll see. The domain will change when you see it, and you'll be able to see some information. We're still working on it, but if you just wanted to go and check it out, it's just us trying to do our very best to redeem the time, and it explains what it is that we're doing, just so then you can fully understand what it is that you are supporting if you're led to do so. The plan is to travel the entire of the United States, if Abba wills it, to share the entire Betzorah. We're breaking down altars. And we're calling out for repentance. So keep us in your petitions daily. Remember, it's all about Yah. It has nothing to do with us. Even your very walk with Yahuwah has to do with Yah himself. Choose him all the days of your life and trust in him. All praises to Allah. Shalom.
It's not about you, it's about Yahuwah. It's not about you, it's about Yahuwah. Everybody wanna be seen, everybody wanna be known. Get your act right and stop trying to take his esteem. You gotta let pride go. Why you always buffing up